All right, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Raymore City Council work session for Monday, December the 15th, 2025. A couple of items on our work session agenda this evening. Two very interesting items, transportation and street preservation issues and the software review that we failed to get at the council meeting. Sorry, David. You know I love you. Anyway, we'll move forward. I'll turn it over to Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, sir. As the council is aware, before we get into the winter months, we always like to take street preservation to you. Mr. Salisbury has been working very hard on a more detailed program to give you this evening. As you can see, he's killed several trees in preparation for this particular presentation. We're going to be going through in detail items that when we show you the street preservation map, you don't always see. And so kind of diving deep into the operational aspects of this. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Salisbury.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fearborn. Before we get started, I just want to introduce, this is Devin Perry. He's our senior engineering tech. He's kind of been my right-hand man through this whole process, so he's been helping me out. We have some transportation outlines we'll hand out. We've dubbed it our roadmap. I thought it was a clever name, but maybe not, I don't know. So kind of as Mr. Fearborn indicated, we've highlighted 8 of our transportation projects that we feel are spotlight projects, high-level projects on our major network of roads that we felt like highlighting. So we'll just kind of run through them. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to stop me at any time. Kind of diving right in, the Dean Avenue Access Management and 58 Highway Median Project. This was brought to council several years ago, I believe. The plans are finally done. We are ready to go out to bid with that project. That will install a median from the grocery pickup entrance there at Walmart all the way to the intersection with Dean and 58, and then also down 58 Highway from Dean to Westgate. So that's kind of what we're looking at with that project. There will also be some asphalt improvements with that. And then it will realign the entrance into Walmart. So the north entrance that most people use to get in and out, it will be right in, right out only. That'll be closed off with the median. We're going to be installing a signal. That signal will be located in line with the Sam's Club exit, more or less with Big Biscuit right there. Mr. Zers completed an agreement with Walmart. It has been sent to them. We have not heard back yet, but we anticipate hopefully hearing back from them pretty soon. We still want to take that project out to bid in January, so it should be in front of the council with March timeframe, I would say. Moving right along, kind of in conjunction with that project, is the 58 Highway Overlay Phase 1. That will go from Dean Avenue to Fox Ridge is our intention. I kind of have it split up 2 ways. So Dean Avenue to Westgate will be part of the access management project with the median work. We felt since they will already be in there working on the median and working on in that area, we would make the asphalt improvements with that part of the project. And then from Westgate going east to Fox Ridge, that will be another 3-inch mill and overlay. Any base repairs, the spot there out in front of Culver's, I know everyone loves that spot. We will be fixing that. And that project is also anticipated to go out in the January, February timeframe. So should be to council hopefully March or April. So that kind of wraps up the 58 Highway work for next year. Number 3 is the Dean Avenue curb replacement. This will be south of the median project. It would go from Hickory Leaf down to Lucy Webb. It's just going to be curb replacement. I think we've seen it. The curb is, yes, the curb is barely there. They did when they did the last asphalt overlay. They filled it in to make it look a little better, but we'll hopefully clean that all up. So we will be doing a lot of work in that that intersection right there near the highway, but in preparation for the 49-58 interchange project, really felt it necessary to try and get as much done there as possible so that it works as good as possible. Moving right along, the fourth item is the additional left turn at North Cass and Dean Avenue. So we still have to do a little bit of design work with that project. The signal's all set up to be for 2 left turn lanes, but they have to do some timing and some different things. So we'll have a little bit of design work that's gonna be starting here really soon with that. After that, we'll put that out to bid, and we would anticipate sometime this summer that gets wrapped up as well. So that does include, we do have a little bit left over in the governor's cost share from when we originally did some work out there. So we will be able to, on the construction side, share some of that cost with MoDOT through that.
So Trent, will that involve any kind of photo lane signal to the traffic box for purposes of moving traffic? I'm assuming that's the engineering part you're talking about, so that the 2 left turn lanes there coming out of the warehousing project have an opportunity to go up to I-49. But it's just a matter of configuring the lights, because everything's there,
Correct.
and restriping, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
There's not a lot of other construction.
No,
that will-
no, it will be, other than another signal head, you won't see anything different out there. Oh, well, there will be some new striping. There will
okay.
be the new striping for the lane, I will
Right.
say that.
Okay.
But it should look generally the same. There's not a lot of construction work with that
Okay.
project. And then part of the design and reworking that they have to do is working with Operation Greenlight to possibly time up those signals a little better, whatever they need to do. So
Okay.
OGL will be watching that signal once it gets upgraded, and they can do some stuff on their end as well, so.
All right, excellent.
Yep. Number 5, was there a question?
5, yeah.
Okay. Number 5 is the Kurzwell Road reconstruction. We have received the preliminary plans for that project. They're sitting right here. Working on going through those. They're actually pretty good. There's some work still to do, but I feel confident that they're moving right along at the pace they should be. We're definitely still shooting to start that construction next summer. Hopefully June, July timeframe would be our hope. If we can get it sooner, that would be ideal. We do have to do right-of-way acquisition with that. So those documents are almost complete. Once we get those, we'll start working with the property owners to get that right-of-way finalized. So there should be fewer people than there were on Ward Road, so I'm hoping it goes rather quick.
Trent, I was going to ask you a little bit about that project.
Sure.
I know that the initial engineering had a cost that was somewhat alarming.
Yeah.
Have you guys, is the re-engineering efforts that are going on with that, are they going to be like a value re-engineering on that to determine the necessity for some of the things that we had kind of plugged in but may have to dial back a little bit?
Yeah. So we kind of started diving into that. They had talked about a lot of new culvert pipes for all the residents and a certain type of rock and some different things that we can bring back to maybe a more normal standard or just like they were doing gravel drive approaches with a really high quality rock. Well, we can use road gravel, right? It's just a gravel driveway, stuff like that. So we are working to try and value engineer that down and get it back closer to what we were hoping for.
So the council is aware we're looking at a $5 million difference at this point in time. $2.2 million in the budget and a $7 million project.
A lot of value engineering going on there,
I'm glad he said that, not me, right?
right?
Moving along with number 6, the annual curb replacement and ramp repair program. The focus is to address failing curb and non-compliant ADA ramps. Do want to highlight on that the amount of attention given to this program over the last years as we've made significant progress on the failing curb throughout the city. And so that's put us in a good spot, and while there's still work to do, we're in a good position to put a strong focus on our street preservation program. We have some maps to pass out here. The curb replacement project's currently being built with the street preservation roads that you'll see on this map in mind. Our strategy for the street preservation program this year is focused to extend pavement life, hopefully to avoid costly full depth reconstructions, which is why this year we broke the program down into 4 unique projects. On 7, you'll see the first one being the pavement condition index. We put this out for bid and as an RFQ, and had a company respond from Illinois, and they will provide us data that's compatible with the city's GIS database, pavement distress survey, and a roughness survey data, which also is all compatible with our GIS system. This data will allow us to prioritize streets objectively and not just relying on complaints and visual judgments.
We've used systems similar to this in the past using our own vehicles, but these companies have specialized vehicles that are designed to drive roads and grade them without human judgment in any way. And so being able to have a visual look, it'll look similar to this map that we passed out. You know, it'll be color coded based on the worst roads being red and then the, better roads being green. Being able to visually look at the areas we need to focus on will really give us a hand up in selecting and building these projects as we go forward.
On B, you'll see crack and mastic seal. Crack seal will follow in reverse order of street preservation roads from years 1 through 5. And that'll be to really clean out the cracks, fill them with the rubberized material, and it really prevents moisture and grit from getting in underneath the road surface, which accelerates failures. For larger cracks, there's a material called mastic seal, and it's similar to crack seal. It has larger aggregate in it. It's used a lot on transverse cracks, which are transverse cracks run across the road, curb to curb, also preserving the life of the street.
Trevor, is that some of the materials like we used out at Whitetail for the gaps in the roads?
The mastic seal is what our operations department installed out in Whitetail Run, yes.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought. I was
Yep,
just-
it will be similar to that to fill those large transverse cracks, as he said. The intention with this is that as long as the money holds up, the years 1 through 10, for the last 10 years of street preservation, we will do something on all of our roads to make them last just a little bit longer using a low-cost method. So that's the intention of those 2 projects.
C is operation streets and repair materials. So a good example of that, if you've been down Heritage Drive west of North Madison Street, our operations department performed 3 large concrete repairs. So we have money set aside for them to be able to do a couple of those throughout the year that they could handle. The mill and overlay project, it's built with the curb replacement project in mind, and this is a proposed list. Every year we have changes that need to happen, hopefully minor, but there is a chance of that. And then maintenance of thoroughfare routes. That's going to be a 2-inch mill and overlay, and they'll have full depth reconstruction patching where needed. A good example of that is North Fox Ridge Drive by Creekmore Drive. We had to do a full depth patch on a really bad failure there. Also, Hubach Hill east of J Highway this year. They had really bad rutting. We had to repair it full depth, and North Madison, the intersection at 155th Street.
Is any of that, can we do any of that in-house, or is that mostly contractual work that you guys have identified?
So a lot of that work would be contractual, and the primary reason for Gore Road, Lucy Webb, some of those, is because they're major arterial roads. The traffic control is a lot. The number of people needed to safely do those jobs a lot more than what we have to commit.
Sure.
Kind of like the West Heritage, it's a little bit lower volume, so we have need less people, a little bit more time to do the work ourselves. So
Makes sense.
That concludes everything we had to present. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have. The map that we handed out does show the proposed, and we typically send out or give out a proposed list, and then the proposed list, as budget allows, the roads we would like to add, as long as the money keeps going. So they're definitely focused in areas of town, but that also helps us with the bidding process, because the less they have to mobilize their equipment, the better price you're typically going to get. So
And this will be the last time Mr. Salisbury uses a term like, as long as the money keeps going. We'll have a discussion tomorrow morning.
Mr. Mills?
Will this be on the website for the public, or are we waiting until we put everything out to bid before it's posted on the website?
The discrete projects will be up sooner than the actual bid, and then once the bid comes in and we can know how far and how many roads we can actually do initially, then that'll get posted up. Interestingly enough, on what you're about to see.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, is that it?
that's all we have.
Okay, any other questions? Anybody?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
If I could ask the council before I turn this on, if you could all swipe up and open your iPads so that they bring up the main console screen. I want to make sure this gets broadcasted to everybody. I only had one more shot before I embarrass myself again. Are all your screens on?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Now swipe up again. There you go.
Excellent.
We're thinking about it over here. There's one's thinking about it. Yeah.
Oh, here, I can unblock.
Oh, okay.
He's to try to give it
Okay. All right. We're rocking and rolling.
All right, so before I start, again, my apologies at the last meeting for the technical difficulties. Second time is the charm. I sent you all an email last week that kind of summarized some of this work, but I wanted to take a chance and kind of walk through it all with you. Opportune timing, because as Mr. Fearborn mentioned, some of the stuff that you heard from engineering, as that progresses, we'll continue to update some of the maps relative to their projects. But to kind of preface some of this work, as many of you know, for the last 6 years, we have been using a mapping application it's the What's Happening Near Me. It was the main page where city staff kind of uploaded new projects, status updates about ongoing projects. It's where we posted a lot of information that residents can interact with. For the last 2 years, though, that was a mapping product that was put out by Esri, who we contract with to do a lot of our mapping. That specific app was in a state of depreciation for the last 2 years, which just meant Esri wasn't offering any support for it. So we, for lack of a better term, we limped it along for as long as we could, and then we really started noticing some functionality issues with it in terms of what information we could put out, how often we could update it, just some issues that made it not that usable anymore. At the same time, though, if you look at some of the applications that we have, it was one of the more widely used applications. It had a lot of traffic for people that were interested in what was going on, whether they saw something in their neighborhood or heard about a project through the grapevine. So undoubtedly an important application that we wanted to try to get back up. As the council is familiar, you all did fund some licensing upgrades for our GIS department, which helps this work, so I appreciate that. So does our GIS department. So we just felt it was good timing. We have finally finished this map, so I wanted to walk you all through some of the things that are improved with it. So everything about how you access the previous map now will redirect residents and you all to this map. Some of the main differences that you will notice is that it does, this application better breaks out what we consider private development, which is any project that comes through development services, and then separately would be capital projects. So anything that comes through the budget, CIP, any work that Trent and or Mr. Salisbury and his department do. Some of the things we heard about from the last map is that it was very cluttered and very hard to kind of understand all the different types of projects. So I'm going to show you a little bit about each of those. So for current development projects, this is the map that kind of opens up. A little easier to read with the points that are on the map. It's not liking my, we'll try that. So this is, anytime our department receives an application, this is the first step that we take is to get it put onto the map. And I'll just scroll down to a couple of our recent projects that we have going on here that have the most recent up-to-date information for them. At the last council meeting, you all heard 2 applications for rezoning there down on the south side of town. So I'll scroll over to maybe. Here we go. So each color on the map corresponds with the application type that we have filed. On that, you will see general information about, if I can get the mouse to work here sporadically. So it'll give you general information about the application, who the applicant is. It provides a link to the meeting information in terms of the packet when it's posted. We also provide a general outline and kind of overview of what the project is, what they're asking to do. Further down, it will give all of the meeting dates for any public meetings, any informational meetings that we have. These all get updated. And so, for example, at the last meeting, the council approved a continuance for one of our items. So as a result of that, we go back and we update all those dates for folks that might be tracking those applications. The other thing, in this application in particular, didn't have any attachments that were germane or sharing since it's already a developed property. But the other functionality that this application improves is the ability to host information, meaning project plans, copies of the application, any informational notices. Before we switched to this, we had to rely on what we would call like a third-party source, that we go upload the image over here and share it back to our application. And so those new licenses that I mentioned kind of improve some of that functionality for us to be able to host more stuff internally and share it through these apps. And so we just, this is a much better intuitive application. It allows a few more search functions if you're only interested in a certain type of application or something near you. There's some different filtering requirements that residents and your guys' constituents can plug in if they're really interested in something in particular. The other functionality that the previous map did not have, it really just is dependent on where you're at in the city. But it also gives you the ability to see any building permits in the city as well. So previously it was limited to development applications. Our department obviously processes several building permits throughout the month. And so you can scroll around in your neighborhood. There was obviously none here in the Park Place subdivision. But residents in their neighborhood can kind of see what improvements are happening around their neighborhood, new homes that are permitted if they haven't started construction. And so this allows us the functionality to basically pull information from Encode, which is our kind of financial and permitting software. This kind of feeds directly into that, and so it's a little more real time than what our previous app was. So overall, just from the development side of things, this has proved to be a little easier to use and just allows us to put more information out quicker. And so we're really thrilled with the way that this has been working so far. It has been live here for about the last week and a half. I've noticed that several people have already accessed it based on the views, and so it's good that folks are taking advantage of that, kind of understanding what's going on in the city.
So you can do an inventory on how many views we get on these, on this new software?
Yes, and you could do that on the last one too. It's just a function of what Esri has. You can plug in, the date ranges you're interested in. It'll tell you how many views per day, views per month, and that's, like I said, this one and the previous one have been some of the more higher trafficked applications that we have in the city.
Mr. Barber, did you have something?
Can you click on the left, any of those things, and it opens up, or do you have to go to the map?
So the only functionality it doesn't have is it does not pan to things, and so you have to, zoom into your neighborhood if that's what you're looking for, and it will auto-populate the points that are there. But this does not have the ability to, click on one of these and have it pan over to that application. That's not a functionality that it has. You can search addresses, and it'll take you, if you search your personal address, it should redirect you to your neighborhood. It'll pan straight there. But that's one of the functionalities that this application did not have.
Mr. Barber, did you have something?
So anybody pulling a permit that'll come up here, from fence to roof to any
Yes. Yes, sir.
deck, anything.
They're color coordinated. There's no legend or anything, but it'll tell you when you highlight one of those points, it'll say whether it was a mechanical permit, HVAC, electrical, single family permit. And so that is a new functionality that we're rather excited about. Yeah. The original intent of that What's Happening app that we built was that if you're driving around and you see something and you want to know what it is, you just go to the map and it'll tell you. Well, you can you can do that too. But like I said, we do build several homes throughout the year that most people know that once it's being built, that's what it is. But this will tell you, who the contractor is, who the homeowner is, and that type of information. So just something else that residents can have, easy access to. The second half of this application, as I mentioned, was the capital projects. And so this is just one that I came to because it was the topic of conversation this evening. I will point out that the information you see here is last year's street preservation program. Mr. Fearborn indicated once engineering has gotten the next year's program put up, that will be updated here for residents to see. One of the things that we had discussed between our department and engineering was the way that we had traditionally put out this information. Sometimes it was hard to read, hard to understand, and so the way that this map is set up now, it's a lot more spatial, if you will, meaning you can click around on the map. It's not a static PDF that's linked to our website. That's the way we had kind of done it in the past, and it provides a little bit more. I keep saying real time, but up-to-date information. If this was the street preservation program that the council adopted for this year, and we had had the funds to add more projects to that. This functionality allows our GIS department to go in and change that information, and it will publish, almost immediately. And so just a little bit easier and quicker than trying to update static maps, repost them, and what have you. But as you can see, the outline of this engineering portion of it, or the capital portion, does reflect kind of the structure of the budget between buildings and grounds, parks, sanitary sewer, stormwater. And so as each of these projects goes on throughout the year, similar to the development applications and projects, we'll be working hard to make sure that this stuff gets updated as well. We get a lot of questions about, when's my street being done? And so this will be, when it's up to date for this upcoming year, a lot more up-to-date information about when it will be done, whether it is done, when they're scheduled to come back. So just any information we can get out to our residents about those projects, the better. So that is this, that application in a nutshell. We're excited that it's finally done. It was a long time coming, and I want to, extend my appreciation to Thomas, our GIS coordinator, who helped kind of get this to the finish line. So happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, Mr. Baker.
Does this have the ability to also upload photos? I know it probably would upload the packet that has photos in it, but hopefully with the drone in the near horizon, a lot of projects look a lot different from above, and I think that's a perspective that other cities are doing that. There's quite a few in the metro that are using drone footage now for a lot of their projects, but is that going to be able to either video and or photos?
I would have to check on the video, but I know it can host images. What I'm going to here, if the mouse will allow me, like I said, the better thing about this application is how it stores records. Before we were limited on really the size limit and the number of records, right? And so this, there's only one map that's uploaded to this, but as we go through our projects and develop our staff reports and our site photographs, we can attach those to these a lot easier. I will have to check on, you mentioned the drone, whether or not video can be posted. I know one of the things we'd like to be doing with the drone when we get it, right now we get, street view photos because that's all we can get. So for some of those larger projects, getting an aerial shot would be an easy thing to do.
Mr. Mills.
Are we looking at maybe making this part of our next Raymore review and kind of making sure people know how to access this? If you want the real truth, here's how you find it, not Facebook. Come to this site.
We are definitely going to feature it. It's going to be in with our Walker, sir, is going to be the main part of the Raymore review. and what we're going to be doing as far as the transportation program is concerned. But yes, we can feature this in there. It's a good idea.
And I had asked our communications director, Ms. Harmer, I'd asked her originally to put a post out about this, and then I realized it would be better for you all to kind of have the first look at it in case you get any questions. So her and I will work together over the next couple weeks to put this out and let people know that it's updated and it's a new software.
It may be something that you want to do a regular, almost like a couple times a month, just a post, just like marketing people do, and they set it up and it goes out, because sometimes people have to see something 10 or 12 times before they ever really see it.
The thing we got into the habit of in the past, the one better thing I will say about the last application is it's called indexing, but each point has a specific number associated with it. So for the example of this project, if I wanted to share information about it, I can copy a specific link that will direct somebody directly to that project. And so now moving forward, we'll have to find a little bit different way to do that. But when we announce in our weekly reports that an application has been filed, we can also provide the link to this map so people can, it's fresh in their mind that they can access it if that's what they want to do.
Yes, Sonia.
Is there a way on the drop-down menu of the different things that you can select in the?
I can look at that. It would be,
One told you if it's this color, it means this,
yeah.
or somewhere where you could put like a key.
Yeah, the colors, so we had talked about that. The colors really only correspond to our file system inside City Hall, different folder types. So one thing I did look at was just making everything one color. That became a challenge though with how this links into our file management, I'll call it. But I will check and see if it's a possibility to add some reference to what those colors mean.
Anyone else? Yeah. Microphone.
Didn't do that last time either. One other piece of feedback, it's interesting to me just with similar apps in the outside world. If you zoom in on the app, then the list over on the left would just show you the things that are currently on your map and not on the entire map. Is it because the internet's slow here that it's not doing that, or it just doesn't do that?
I don't know that functionality is here. In some cases, we're limited by how Esri develops their apps. So, as I mentioned, the downside to our previous one is there were no more updates to it anymore. I guess our hope and intention is that Esri gets feedback on these apps, because this is a pretty new one, is that they'll release patches or updates that we can continue to improve it. I'll pass that along to Thomas. He's more savvy at this stuff than I am, but I'll see what kind of feedback I can get from him and see if we can look into that.
If it's new and they're working on it, they might appreciate that feedback.
Yeah.
Too. They might get right on it.
Anyone else have anything? Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Good stuff. All right, well, that concludes the two titled issues. Do we have anything under other at this time, Mr. Fearborn?
I do not know if the council had the opportunity to review the blotter and the supplemental, but we have had, and we posted it last week, there have been a significant number of fraudulent attempts utilizing and taking advantage of the Cass County Sheriff's Department, folks calling vulnerable individuals, indicating that they are a deputy sheriff, things like there is a warrant out for your arrest, and that's actually one that got fallen for. Warrant out for your arrest, you need to do a Bitcoin deposit in order to get out from underneath this warrant. But we have seen a number of these coming from an individual who is making believe that he is a deputy sheriff. So we're just wanting to let everybody know out there, because that's something that's very easy to fall into.
Yep, Mr. Circo.
But nothing from the Raymore PD side, though.
No.
Not from this side. Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, we're adjourned for the evening. Thank you very much.